Today I received a laptop that is coming from a series of computer repair shops. It's an HP ProBook 650 G2. So the laptop is not powering on, it's just a dead laptop. So it's some kind of headache, this laptop, because when I received it, I thought maybe the job was going to be simple. Let me show you what this laptop is doing. I'll plug the power supply here. Plug the power supply. You see the power on LED is just came on by itself. Not only that, if you check on the charging port here, it's flashing. I thought maybe since it's flashing, maybe we have some kind of missing power rail, because I checked some coils, I checked everything. I checked the 19 volts is okay, the 3.3 was okay. Still it's not working. I even move on to reprogram the BIOS chip. Let me show you. I think I can show you what I've done. If you go on desktop, if I go on desktop, you see this HP ProBook G2 bin file backup bin file. That was the original bin file for the BIOS chip. The firmware from the BIOS chip is an 8 megabits BIOS chip. And what I found this one, which is also 8 megabytes BIOS chip. And after reprogramming the BIOS chip, still same issue. I put back the old bin file. But still the laptop is not working. So here we have some kind of a tricky fault. So yeah, of course I was doing everything off camera, so we have to try to have some shakings together. But the laptop is not coming on, even if you press the power on switch, and it's taking something like 6 milliamps, 7 milliamps. Pressing is not doing anything. I'm sure if we have some lights, we have a 3.3. 3.3 pressing. It's not going to 0. 3.3 pressing. It's going to 0, releasing 3.3. Pressing is going to 0, releasing 3.3. So here, if we put the battery, let's see, because the customer bring the battery. Let's see what happens if we put the battery. Is it charging or not? The battery is plugged. No, it's still doing same thing. It's flashing. Okay. This is a very bad fault. This is a very bad fault. Trust me, because we have the processor soldered on the motherboard. Can be the faulty processor. We might have like a dead E.C chip. Let's check for 3.3 on the E.C chip. (2.9), 3.3. Here 3.39. So the EC chip has some voltage. That means the 3.3 volts for the LED LDO is on. If I check on the capacitors, we have a 19 volts. Here we have 19 volts. That means the gatekeepers, the input MOSFETs, they are driving the power into the motherboard. So what I would do, I'll disconnect the motherboard and have a look. I can't see any flags or anything, so it means this board, they were just checking, but they didn't do anything because it's already coming from other technicians. So we have to assess the motherboard. Everything looks fine. Let's diode mode. Let's check coils. Let's check coils. Let's check coils. This one is good. Why this is beeping? No, it's no longer beeping. This one, not beeping. This one, not beeping. Not beeping. So that was voltage on this one. Uh, this one not beeping. Not beeping. All the coils looks fine. Uh, Volts. What voltage do you have on this CMOS battery? We have 2.61. Some kind of low, but I don't think that will help us. Was already they took out the BIOS, the CMOS battery, and tried to reset. We can do it, but I don't think that will solve anything. So let's go on a microscope. Maybe we can see one or two components which are not okay, or we can see where this problem is coming from. Here we have coil, another coil, and that's the driver. This looks like the 3.3 and 5 volts power supply. Okay. Okay. We're just checking random components. Maybe you can spot something on this motherboard because I'm not really sure what's going on here. The input section, yeah, on the input section, we can check. We can check some MOSFETs there. This one looks good. This one looks okay. Get to source to drain. All looks fine. On the other side, we have a. I'm sure this is the current, the second MOSFET and the current sensor. and on the BQ chip, which is here. So these are the BQ chip. Okay, the EC chip looks clean. So what's wrong with this motherboard? Huh? So what's the story with this motherboard? Hmm? Okay. What is on this chip? Huh? Here we have some kind of liquid damage. Here. This is liquid damage. We need to clean this. We need to clean this. But so here we can insulate this with the rosin flux just to prevent corrosion from this chip which was affected by water damage. Okay, let's move on to check other things. Otherwise the board looks fine and clean. So let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Do you think now it's now working? Connecting back the fan. Putting back the motherboard. Let's put back this motherboard and the connector for the battery. Let's see. I'm curious to see what's going on because before I didn't see that water damage. Maybe That was the cause for this laptop to not turning on. Maybe the battery doesn't have voltage. But we can use the power supply. No, still flashing, and they are still dead. It's trying to change from 6 to 7. So what we can do at this moment? What we can do? Uh, on this coil, we have 0 here, 5 volts. This is a 3.3, and obvious the 19 volts is on. 19 volts. You have nothing. You have nothing. On this 19, on the gate, we have 3.3. Okay. What about on the BQ chip? What voltages do we have on the BQ chip? On the BQ chip, this is the V in 8.9, 18.9, 18.9, 19 volts everywhere. Zero, 3.3, 2.39 volts. Obvious we don't have schematics. I'm looking for the linear regulator output around 6 volts, which is always on. 2 point. Three point. I can't see it. Huh? What's the story here? I'm running out of ideas. What do you think is the problem with this motherboard? Because if we have a light on the power on button and the 3.3 is going to 0, it means the 19 volts and 3.3 is fine. Maybe we have this processor issue, but I can't see like very low resistance on the CPU section. 2.6. Let's check out this BIOS battery. By taking out the BIOS battery, the machine has to come on by itself if we plug in the power supply. If the problem is emanating from the BIOS battery, no, still same issue. We have a flashing charging light. So We are on the wrong direction. But let's check something. Let's check something. Let's pay attention to the mechanical structure of this motherboard. I think it's very important. You see, most of the motherboards, they don't have a BIOS chip on the socket. You see this BIOS chip? It's on the socket. You can pull it. You can do this. You put it back. You close the lid. Now, my question is, what guarantee do I have on this BIOS chip for all the pins to have proper connection? So, let's check out the motherboard and have a test. Because if the pins of the BIOS, they are not proper, they are not contacting with the pins on the socket, that's very possible to have such kind of problem, because the BIOS chip won't be fully working the way it is supposed to work, how it is supposed to operate. So let's go exactly on the socket of this. Here's the BIOS chip. If I take out this lid like this, we'll see the BIOS chip closing. So how am I going to test this? How am I going to test this? Okay, diet mode. We are on the BIOS chip right now. This side looks okay. What about the other side? The other side, I don't have access to test. Okay. What I would do is very simple. I'm going to put back the motherboard and try to power on the laptop, pressing that socket for the BIOS chip. I want to see if that will change anything. So let's put back the switch connector. Now we're at a point where we are trying anything, because this fault can be anything, trust me. They are still flashing. What I want to do, I want to press here. I'm pressing on the BIOS chip connector, and we have fan spinning. It's taking 400, and the motherboard just came on. Yeah. So, yeah. Have you ever seen such kind of fault? Hmm? Yeah, the machine is trying to boot up, but because there's no hard drive. So, have you ever seen such kind of fault? This is my first time to see something like this. Huh? Uh, and here we have orange charging light. You see the orange charging light? It is taking 1.1, 1.3 amps. It's charging. Let's disconnect here. The board is on. It's off. Let's connect back to our problem. But at least now we know what is the problem. So how am I going to solve this? How am I going to solve this? I don't know. I don't know how am I going to solve this. So if I press here, the motherboard is coming on. So if I press on the BIOS chip socket here, the motherboard is coming on and is displaying, is doing everything, it's charging. But if I release, it's not working. So something is wrong with this socket. But my question is, how am I going to solve this? Because I don't have even this socket. I think this is the bad design from the for this model of HP ProBook. What we can do here, we can take out the BIOS chip. We can destroy this socket and solder the BIOS chip straight on the PCB board. I think that's the only option to do here. That's the only option. Let's try to do it. Let's try to do it. Well, let's modify this and remove this socket forever. We don't need this socket anymore. We don't need it anymore because it's giving us too many problems. So we reprogram the BIOS for nothing. Yeah, we can melt the socket because we no longer want it. I think we need another watt here which is more powerful. A stronger one. Just to force this thing out of the socket. The socket is out. Now let's solder this BIOS chip direct on the motherboard here. This is the only way to solve this problem. That's the only way I found at this moment to solve this problem. So I'm not gonna use the hot air station. I'm soldering using a soldering iron pin by pin. So I don't know why did they put socket there. I don't even know why. So let's solder this pin. Um, that's the only way we can solve this. So I don't even know why did they do that. Why did they put a socket there? Huh? So let's see now. Let's see now. So this kind of faults, you can be lucky to find the problem, but this is not an easy fault. Trust me. You can condemn this motherboard, trust me, because here I've done everything until at a point I realized that this socket um, uh, it doesn't give me guarantee. How did I come up with such kind of mindset? When I'm putting BIOS chip on this, this socket for the BIOS programmer, sometimes it's misbehaving. You have to press the BIOS chip in order to have contacts with the pins on the socket. Same with this socket. So if you have this model of HP ProBook, it's flashing. The problem might be from the BIOS chip socket, because it has a unique design. So what you need to do, let's put all together and we test. So I've put the motherboard in place. Now I want to test if that was the problem with the socket or not. Plug in. It's taking 14 milliamps, 180, and we have orange light here. Maybe this is the pre-charging current. 300, 400, 800. Now it's taking 1.1. So it's charging. Now we can agree that this laptop is now charging. We now have orange light. It's no longer flashing. Pressing the power on switch. It's on. It's taking 1.5 amps. And we have HP log. The system detected current platform for what power on to change correct BIOS, avoid what. I think we need to put the hard drive, the keyboard and everything, but that was the fault. So allow me to put everything, the keyboard, and then we'll do the final test. So I have put all together here. And what happened after I have put all together? The machine was coming on, but I was facing problem with the BIOS, the firmware from the BIOS. Because at first I thought maybe that was a firmware issue. I changed the BIOS with another firmware. I ended up reloading the original firmware. So that is the main reason why I emphasize to backup the original BIOS bin file. So let's put back the battery. Let's plug the power supply here, and it's taking 14 milliamps, pre-charge current 199. Power on, it's taking 700, 900, 1.2 amps, 1.4, 1.6, 1.7. No, nothing still. I'm still waiting for the picture, and we have picture. Okay, I don't know that. Press enter, and we have the Windows log sign, and it's loading Windows. So the laptop is fixed. It's fixed. This is some kind of new fault to me. I never found like a motherboard with the problem of the BIOS chip socket. If someone asks me what was the problem, I would say pins from the socket of the BIOS chip and the BIOS chip were not connecting together, and the machine was flashing. Everything looks fine here. The touchpad, keyboard, it's all working fine. So yeah, that was the repair. So like, subscribe, don't forget to turn on the notification bell for future updates, and if you have anything, don't hesitate to leave a comment on any of the videos, and I'll try to answer you on the next repair. See you, bye.